And welcome to TellusDetroit.com. I'm Edward Foxworth. I'm sitting here with the Vice President of Community and Public Relations for Greektown Casino, Mr. Marvin Beaty. How you doing?
I'm doing well, doing well.
Fantastic.
Good to be here.
You're looking good.
God is good, man.
Yeah.
I'm grateful.
Well, Greektown Casino, a lot of things happening, and just finalized the sale of it. Talk to us a little bit about that entire.
Well,
process.
we have a brand new group in town, Penn National, which is a major casino company around the country, 42 casinos around America. So they're well entrenched in the gaming business, and this is really the first time that a major gaming company has been a part of Greektown Casino. So we're very excited about not only who they are, but how they do business, and we think that it'll be a great improvement, a great growth opportunity for Greektown and the city of Detroit.
Good. Formerly owned by Quicken Loans?
Formerly owned by Dan Gilbert and Quicken Loans. Well, by Dan Gilbert, yeah.
Sure.
Jack Entertainment was the company.
Speaking of Dan Gilbert, he's a good friend of yours. Tell us how he's doing and what you...
I'm praying for him. I don't know a whole lot more than everybody else, but I hear that he will hopefully recover and be himself. There's a lot of different thoughts about Dan Gilbert and who he is and what he's done, and no one person should own as much as he has, but at the end of the day, he has been the impetus for the whole movement and positive movement of downtown, but he's very much involved in the community as well. And I think momentum is like anything else, and people have to see the vision. And he's created an absolute positive vision for other folks to come into this community and develop and do the right thing. So I'm praying for the guy.
Yeah.
He's a good man.
Speaking of your role as with Greektown, doing some good work, touching some real organizations, some grassroots people who really need support. Tell us a little bit about what that's been like for you.
Well, I've been pretty much responsible for the charitable side of Greektown Casino since we opened. And we are very much engaged. We have a charity golf outing every year. And this year, some of the benefactors are the Motown Museum, the African American Museum, and Veteran Solutions. So want to help, the Motown Museum, which is really an important part of the history of Detroit and the history of African American music. So as they work towards building a new facility, we want to be a part of helping them to get there. Obviously, the Museum of African American History is, one of the finest in the world. And, we want to be a part of making sure that young people are integrated into that whole strategy, because museums are certainly reflective of the past, but the future has to understand the value of the past in order for them to contribute. So we want to train them up in the right way to understand the value of what a museum is actually for, and how to continue to make it happen. And then obviously veterans who are struggling in America. We talk about how wonderful they are, and we want to stand for the anthem, but when it's all said and done, we walk away from them when they need help. So, we want to be a part of that recovery and helping them get to where they need to go.
Now, outside of the golf outing and the benefactors of it, you've got some things going on with Myers.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, Myers Gateway Shopping Center that was open now 6 years ago. It'll be 6 years in July. Has turned into just an absolutely wonderful place for our community to shop. Every store out there does unbelievably well. We always wanted to make sure that the people in the community got what they didn't have. And 6 years ago, you couldn't buy a pair of socks in Detroit. And today, and I think that we were really in the forefront of bringing retail to back to the city of Detroit, and now it's happening all over the place. And I think the confidence that was able to come out of, and we really worked on national chains, because those are the ones that come in, invest the money, and employ people. Mom and pop can't live without them. But we need the strength of major retailers to really to give Detroiters a chance to circulate our money in Detroit more than one time.
Yeah.
You know, we write a check and then we go to the suburbs. I'm not opposed to the suburbs, but we got to circulate our money in our own community.
Yeah.
And the only way we do that, we got to provide them opportunity.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent point. I've heard the statistic that, somewhere in some communities, the dollar circulates 35 times before it leaves the
before it
community,
leaves.
and then in African American community, maybe
once,
maybe one and a
maybe
half.
twice.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a tragedy because it doesn't do anything for strengthening the employment opportunity of our own people.
That's right.
And I always say when you go to the suburban stores and they ask you for your zip code, don't give it to them. Because the reason why they ask for it is that they want to be sure that they want to know who's coming to their store. And if you come into their store from the city, they don't have to build in the city. So we don't owe them that information. They owe us an opportunity to shop in our own community, and they're not giving it to us.
Interesting,
And we need to
fascinating
fight
point.
for it.
I hadn't looked at it that way. Yeah, that's good. But then as you look at, beyond what you do for Greektown, the Mackinac Policy Conference, people shaking hands, building relationships. What's your takeaway so far from the value of this conference?
Well, look, many of these conversations have been going on for years and years and years, and oftentimes not a whole lot comes out of it. And hopefully as we've transitioned into younger people who their commitment, their conversation about commitment is actualized in their actual belief, that we'll do better. But it's a great gathering place. It gives people access to people that they might not normally have exchanges with, and that's very positive. But at the end of the day, roads, education, quality of life, minimum wage, things that really impact the average person, so people don't have to work 3 jobs, so they can go home and take care of their kids at night. Those are the kind of things that are important and should be on the forefront of what we do here.
Yeah.
We got to change people's lives who are in the middle of the struggle.
Right.
They deserve better. Our kids deserve better. We want to be able to, so parents don't have to work 3 jobs so that the oldest kid can't go to school because he got to babysit the babies. There's something wrong with that.
Yeah.
We got to fix that.
Right.
So.
Yeah. No, I appreciate you from that perspective. I certainly have in this interview learned some things about you, and I think those watching right now learn about the legacy. I mean, we're watching the passing of generations like Judge Dan McKeeves and Douglas Diggs, and I mean, some people,
important people in our community
really are leaving our community, and we've got to pass that baton. And a lot of people like you are trying to pass that baton on to some people, and we need more people ready to receive it.
And we have to, and we got to talk about how to pass the baton.
Yeah.
Because it's not the easiest thing to do. You say, hey, look, I want to pass the baton. I want somebody to come up behind me, but that's not the easiest thing to do. But look, you can't go home at 5 o'clock if you want to take the baton. You can't.
Good point.
You can't go home at 5.
Yeah.
You got to stay out here, and you got to beat the bushes, and you got to meet people and integrate yourself in the community. That's how you pass the baton. That's how the baton gets handed off to you.
Yeah.
Is because it's been a fight. And if you look in our community, many of these very key positions are being lost. And they're being lost because companies who talk about they talk about diversity and inclusion. It's the buzzword of the century, but I'm gonna tell you, it don't mean nothing. Because all of the places and the banks and the corporate places that had significant African Americans are gone. They're gone, and they're not doing anything to replace them. And they talk about diversity and inclusion. Isn't that interesting? They talk about not white men, but at the same time, not black men either. So this whole chemistry excludes us all over again.
Yeah.
So let's not be fooled by it. If they believe in it, then it ought to be visually actualized,
Yeah.
not talked about.
Right. And that's what this has to be about. You
Sure.
come up here for 3-4 days,
Yeah.
and at the end of the day, you gotta come back and
I've been up here over 25 years, and I have spoken to people and shook hands with people and say, hey, we're gonna get together when we get back. I don't see them again until we come here again. So, the fallacy of all of this is it should be better.
Yeah.
It should be more real. It should be geared towards the real issues that confront people in Michigan.
Yeah.
And the conversation is good, but the reality of it is we're not touching people that we need to touch.
And how much would you put on both those relationships and the organizations they represent versus the people who want to receive the baton, getting the education outside of the classroom, if you will, to be able to be in position to receive?
Well, look, I mean, if there are no senior vice presidents of major institutions, then who passes the baton?
Of color?
Of
Is
color.
it? Okay, gotcha.
Of color, of course. Of color, then how do you get the baton?
Yeah.
Because look, I'm never mad at people who take care of their own. They should.
They should.
They should. And we should. But when you are in an organization that is getting our money, then there ought to be a commitment to ensure that people look like where those dollars are coming from,
Yes.
are in key positions to be able to speak truth to power in those rooms. Because if you can speak truth to power, then you're not afraid to sit in that boardroom or in that conference room and say that's not right. Then first of all, you ought not be there. And when you are there, it gives all of those institutions an excuse for not doing the right thing, because they said, oh, there's some black people in the room,
Yeah.
but they're invisible and they're silent. And that's
the
not
truth.
what we need.
And that's the charge right now.
That's the
well,
charge.
appreciate your legacy that you're building and
brother.
that you've created so far. It certainly means a lot. And it is the kind of message in this interview alone that I hope people are going to take this, rewind it, play it back, show it to kids, and let them know what people like you are thinking when they do their
I
work.
appreciate Tell Us Detroit. I mean, it's been in the right place. It's telling the right stories to our community, and it's sending the right message to all these other stations that may not quite understand the value of this kind of programming. So I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
You.
All right.
Thank
Appreciate
you very
it.
much.
Okay.
Thanks.